Planning Commission may have. Next, anyone for or against the request will be asked to come forward to the microphone and express their opinion. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes to speak. Development plans require public hearing. However, no action will be taken by the Planning Commission. Plats, rezonings, revised master plans, street renamings, and text amendments require a public hearing, and once the public hearing has been held, Planning Commission members will deliberate and render their decisions. Planning Commission members with a personal or financial interest in any petitioner's request are required to recuse themselves. Members tonight are Ann Clemens, Buddy Hardwick, Cruz Reeves, Reginald Hawkins, Reg Mantooth, Reggie Dunn, James Reed, I think Kippy Tate's on the way, and my name is Frank Cook. Members of the planning control staff here tonight are Tommy Tyson, James Center, and Jovan Hines. Members and petitioners are requested to speak directly into the microphone. This is recorded for legal purposes, and this is the only way to pick up the audio. We have 8 members. Kippy, get here. We have 8 members present, and it takes 5 votes to pass a motion. Because the number of board members present, if you would like to delay your request, just state that when your request is announced. Mr. Tyson, are there any changes to the agenda? Excuse me, he really was here. James, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, sir. He got indisposed. There is a delayed item number 16 by Patsy Coles, requesting to rezone one lot. It's located in the southeast corner of Oak Street and Mill Street.
Can they hear you? I don't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't.
We can't hear you.
Okay, let's try again. The item is number 16. It's by Patsy Coles. Request to rezone one property located at the southeast corner of Oak Street and Mill Street from R60D duplex residential to B2 commercial. That will be delayed to the next meeting.
Okay, did everybody in the audience get that? That's item 16 on the agenda. Has been delayed. All right.
All right, the first item is presented by McBride, Dale, and Clareton, representing Speedwell LLC. Public hearing for development plan for a new building and canopies to be located at the northwest corner of Taylor Road and Troy Highway in a B3 commercial zoning district. This is a public hearing and will not require a vote.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Woker. I'm a planner with McBride, Dale, Clarion, representing Speedway, and we are presenting a development plan at the northwest corner of Troy Highway and Taylor Road. This would be for a new Speedway store on 4.9 acres. Speedway proposes to build a 4,600 square foot store, convenience store, and then we would have auto fuel sales in front of the store and some commercial fueling lanes for our truck customers behind the store. We have been working with Alabama Department of Transportation on our access plans, and they've approved our traffic study, and our driveways are under permit review now. And we have received the staff review comments on our development plan and have no objections. So we look forward to this. We plan to purchase the property pending action by the city and further review. I'll try and answer questions if you have them.
Jonathan, tell us again, you said your traffic plan had been accepted, but tell us how you're going to access off of Taylor and off of Troy Highway.
Right, so there will be a total of 3 driveways. We will have 2 driveways off of Taylor Road. There will be a full access drive at the northern side of the site. That will be our primary entrance for the trucks. And then we will have a right-in, right-out driveway further south before we get to the intersection. We will also be doing some road improvements on Taylor Road.
Your decel lanes, is that what you're gonna have to do on both?
Correct, sir.
Yeah.
So we will have to do improvements to the northbound left turn lane. We will do improvements to the northbound acceleration lane. We will also have a southbound right turn lane into the right in, right out. And then when you come over on the Troy Highway, we will have a right in, right out, and a left in. And the DOT is requiring us to build a left turn lane in the existing median, and then we're going to close a crossover further to the west as part of their access management
Good.
plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the Planning Commission? Anyone in the audience wish to address this item?
Thank you.
If not, this is a development plan, and development plan, we do not vote, so it has been heard. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is represented by Larry Speaks and Associates, representing Speedway LLC. Request final approval of Speedway Plat Number 1 located on the northwest corner of Troy Highway and Taylor Road in a B3 commercial zoning district. This will require a vote.
Stephen Speaks with Larry Speaks and Associates. This is the plat drawing for the 5 acres for the parcel you just heard, the Speedway at the corner of Taylor and Troy Highway. They're going to have 1 lot. They have a permanent access easement that will line up with that crossover he was describing earlier on the west side of the parcel of land.
Any further questions from the Planning Commission? This is the plat, so we have to vote on this. Anyone in the audience wish to address this? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Item 3.
Item 3 is presented by Larry Speaks and Associates, representing Cage Properties LLC. Request to rezone 1 lot located on the southeast corner of Vaughn Road and Bell Road at 6900 Vaughn Road from O1 office zoning to a B2 commercial zoning district. This will require a vote.
This parcel of land, this rezoning was presented last month and it was delayed so we could go back and meet with the neighbors that came forth and had some concerns. Mr. Person, the owner of the property, Cage Properties, couldn't be here. He was out of town at a family reunion that had been scheduled months before, so he apologizes not being here. We met a couple weeks ago, February the 12th, on the site at the Regions Bank. This is at the corner of Vaughn and Bell Roads. This is the old Regions Bank that's been closed. We had, the majority of the people came from the Bell Station neighborhood. We met with about 17 people approximately. We've got a sign-in sheet if you need the copy. But we walked through the bank building, walked through the vault, all sat down and had a pretty good conversation. Cage Properties, a little bit more background, has received 2 inquiries on this piece of property. Both of those were for convenience stores. That's the reason in the request for the rezoning. Cage is not going to develop the property themselves. They're going to sell the property to someone to develop it. In the discussions with the neighbors, there were some requests for some, particularly some approaching other financial institutions about possibly taking the facility and using it. The broker for working for Cage actually talked with 4 different financial institutions. All those declined. They were not interested. I think a lot of that had to do with all the locations over on Taylor Road, but they declined. A request was also asked of the neighbors approach the post office for a post office at that location. The broker actually went to the U.S. Postal Service and talked to the master broker. They're going to look at it. They haven't come back with any definitive yes or no at this point. The question of traffic came up in the meeting. We talked, I spoke with the traffic engineer about the traffic at the intersection and the access points on both Bell and Vaughn. He said if this rezoned and if a store comes to that location, they would probably limit some of the access on the Bell Road side, that's the west side, because of and eliminate the left turn movement there. The access on Vaughn would probably stay as is. Also at the meeting was Councilman Pruitt. He was in attendance. This is in his district. He made a suggestion to the owner, would he possibly consider going with a B4 zoning as opposed to a B2 zoning. I know you've all got your maps. The property to the south, to the west, and to the north are all B4. The CVS on the other corner is a B2. B4 is a little bit more restrictive. It only allows a smaller building footprint. It also has some greater setbacks, and it also has a little bit higher parking ratio. After looking at all that, the owner says, I'm in agreement with that. I'll be glad to go with the B4. So we would like to formally request a B4 zoning in lieu of a B2, which was what was originally presented. It's still a business zoning. It's just it's a little bit more restrictive. And so after about 45 minutes of our meeting, we all moved from there down to Chappie's Deli. We all had dinner together, talked some more about rezoning and in this site, and we had a good evening. The owner appreciated the neighbors meeting with him, and I'll be glad to answer any questions from y'all.
Stephen, is there, obviously, gasoline's going to be sold? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Gasoline would be sold at.
That is correct. It'd be gasoline. That's right.
How about liquor?
No, sir. Steve said no. We wouldn't want any liquor sold at this location.
So would they queue it?
We could, yeah. If you want to say no liquor sales, we could do that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions asked. That and he said he understood totally. He wouldn't want that either.
I have a question on
Yes,
the Bond Road side.
Yes, sir.
You're saying that it's only going to be right out on Bond Road?
No, sir. On the Bell Road side, that west side,
Yeah.
the entrances are pushed back from the intersection. The existing entrances. On the Bell Road side, city said they'll probably restrict that to a right in, right out, to stop that left turn movement as you're coming down Bell, turning left during a rush hour situation, and trying to turn into the left. On Vaughn Road side, it would stay as is. And it's a full access there because you've got the left turn on Vaughn where they could sit in the left turn lane, wait till it clears, then turn left.
With the traffic in the morning and the afternoon?
Yes, sir. You would wait for the lights to clear, obviously, and when the lights turn, you
I understand
make
that,
turn.
but if you're waiting to make a left turn
Yes, sir.
into there,
Yes, sir.
then it's going to delay the people that are trying to make a left turn down Bell Road to go home.
Well, that could be, yes, sir.
No, it will be.
That's right, and that's where it's set up now. Yes, sir.
Do you know how much, I mean, that's going to be a big problem for the people trying to get home. If that's a convenience store or a gas station and people trying to go in there to get, well, not to mention that there's 2 other gas stations that's going to be right across the street. But I mean, if they stop before they get to the light to make a left turn,
Yes, sir.
then the people behind them that's trying to get to the light to
Right,
make a
sir.
left turn, that's going to be chaotic because it's already chaotic.
Well, all right, so let's talk back on the Bell Road side. If there's no left turn on Bell, then how are people going to get into the property at all if there's no left turn on Vaughn? You see what I'm saying?
I'm not doing the project.
Right.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
that's a
It's got-
question for you.
And that's why we talked about using the left turn lane on Vaughn, which is what it's been doing now as a turn lane to get into the project.
No, I understand what you're saying about the left turn
And the
lane.
same thing is happening with the office next door to it, the office next door to it, and the office next door to it. They all have entrances on Vaughn, and those cars stop in that center turn lane to make it into that facility. So that's how it's all been set up thus far.
Okay.
Stephen,
Yes, sir.
do you know if it's currently under contract or LOI with a convenience store, or are we just thinking a convenience store might want to locate there?
He had two, he's actually had 3 calls. 2 calls he thinks are serious, and they want to send him a contract, but it's not zoned for a convenience store. So it's a business zoning, so he hasn't gotten the contracts. That's why he says, let me take it through, present it to the city, see if they're willing to rezone the property, and then he's going to move forward, hopefully with one of those, unless somebody else comes forward. I mean, he's open to anyone that wants to come forward to look at the property. And that's what we talked about with the neighbors. He's open to anyone.
Are they going to attempt to use that existing building?
We're thinking not. They haven't told us that. The 2 calls he's received, they haven't told us that, but we're thinking not.
Why don't we have a layout of the new structure? Do you know why we don't?
They're probably just trying to get it rezoned right now. Probably not. Any other questions from the planning commission?
Yes. Behind the store, you know, there's a set of apartments.
Yes, sir.
Will there be some kind of wall or something so that the lights from the convenience store won't interfere with the people living in the apartments? Do you have plans for that?
We can make sure of that, yes, sir. There is some additional buffering for landscaping. That's in the landscaping ordinance between 2 different uses. I know that landscaping will be different, so we can make sure, I'll be glad to say yes to that. We can make sure there's a fire fence. If you want a fence there, we'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, because if it's going to be open 24 hours a day, I mean, if your plan is to have it 24 hours a day, you know, those people don't want the lights in their bedrooms or whatever all night.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I have a question, if you don't mind, sir.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Does the B2 zoning fall within the plan, land use plan recommendation?
He has, I'm not sure when you came in, but he has offered to make it a little more restrictive B4 zoning.
So you want to be B4?
Yes, sir.
And B4 does
That's
fall
right. That
within
was-
the
Yes, sir.
land
We
use
talked
plan.
about that with the neighbors. That Councilman Pruitt suggested that since we've got B4 on basically 3 sides across the highway to the west and to the south, we said we could work with B4. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to be repetitive.
No problem. Anyway, it's B4 zoning is what is out here, and I'm not sure exactly when, he's willing to queue it also, if need be.
Yes, sir.
One last question. You said no liquor, but what about beer and wine?
I'm sorry.
Buddy had asked you about liquor, but what about beer and wine?
Well, most convenience stores would like to sell beer and wine. Yes, sir. So they would like to sell beer and wine, but no liquor.
Or the beer, anyway.
So they're planning on selling beer and wine?
I would assume, yeah.
At a convenience store, yes, sir.
No, I mean, this particular project is planning on selling beer and wine.
Yes, sir.
I would assume that.
Okay.
Well, my intent was to try to understand that they weren't going to put on the end of the building like we're getting so many places
Makes
that they're just throwing these liquor stores
on the end.
And then you lose a lot of space.
Well, Steve,
That was-
yeah,
So
Steve
my
asked,
intent was hard liquor when I asked the question.
All right. Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? If you would please come forward, and hopefully your comments will be somewhat different than the one before you. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you again for allowing me to present information
Name.
concerning...
Name, address.
Oh, sorry. Chris Foster from Bell Station Homeowners Association. We got the BSHA. Again, thank you for allowing me to present information concerning this project. I'd like to talk about risk management for a moment concerning the rezoning of the bank there. And we all know what risk management is, making a smarter decision to keep from becoming a dreaded statistic or winning the Darwin Award. One of the big problems we've had is the constant changing. Okay, we don't know if the postal department wants to be there now. We're changing from office to heavier business. Now it's before, and no type of structure that we don't even know if they're going to keep the building or not. You know, so it's a lot of just murky decision making here. Okay, let me explain. I'm sorry, I am technically challenged. I can't give you an overhead, but I did great maps. Okay. Basically, the bank sits here. My concern is, okay, you have 130 feet here of the yield area, and it's 134 feet across to the entrance. You're going to have people traveling this way, okay, that would be east, and these people trying to get out at busy hours. You're going to have a turn lane trying to get in here. Also, in the entrance to what's existing as the bank building. It's about a 21-foot easement here, and there are structures there, such as the large metal utility pole, which would be a problem to change that. Okay, so you have turns coming in, you have people trying to get out. Now, we have a daycare center there that people are going to be leaving with their small children after work, when it's very busy. We also have BTW, which will be in the school down the street with a lot of young new drivers, okay, who are going to have to be negotiating this intersection. So we're going to have more traffic. We're also going to have different traffic patterns and more congestion. So this is one of our big concerns, is risk management and keeping our people safe, okay? Now, at Bell Station, we had a variety of concerns, and like here for risk management, the oversaturation of gas stations. We have a Chevron, a Marathon, the street, Bell Road, and then we're gonna have this one that's proposed. Okay, so we'll have a convenience gas station there. So it'll be 3 in a row. Is there a need? You also, just down the street, within the mile, you have MAPCO, and you also have Circle K. Okay, increase of traffic congestion, which I just mentioned. Is there a need for another gas station or convenience store? We got CVS, Marathon, Chevron, and we actually have a little strip mall of Korean people in there that offer many of these things. Environmental concerns, obviously it's a gas station. There's strips, there's spills, there are odors, there's pollution. The apartment complex is within 30 feet, and we're gonna have the light pollution and noise pollution. Daycare traffic, which I mentioned. BTW, less experienced drivers coming up through this congested area. We also have crime concerns. Okay, next. Loitering concerns. Excess sales of alcohol. Okay, even if it's not hard liquor, you know, you've already got it sold at CVS, Marathon, and probably the Chevron, and you have it at Publix. Okay, you have excess sale of alcohol, which I mentioned. The decrease of property values is a concern to many people in Bell Station and the other areas. And satisfy human needs. I mean, do we need another gas station? Convenience store? does not advance general public purpose and land use. You're all planning, and that's great that we have people that are willing to put in the time and effort to plan their community and really promote it to be the best place it can be. Noise, light pollution, hazardous materials there. After the essential character of our neighborhood, we got another gas station or convenience store. Smart growth and sustainability is what we would like. We would like it just to stay an office space. When we talked to the gentleman who, I think he lives in Minnesota, who had bought the place, and in fact, I think he had to buy the bank in order to secure property in Jacksonville, Florida. It was kind of like an addendum to that sale. And we would like it to stay office space. Okay, and he mentioned that there are things such as cooperative, where like an incubator type thing that could be put in there. And we thought that was a good idea. All right, doesn't fit the long-range goals of the area? We're asking, would that fit having another gas station there or another convenience store? And doesn't enhance the peace, comfort, welfare, sense of community that we have in Bell Station and the other areas in that vicinity. So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our ideas.
Thank you. Is there other questions for the lady?
Yeah. When it was a bank, did you have those same traffic problems?
No, because of the bank hours, and plus that's why they closed it. It wasn't used very much. I use Regions Bank, and only twice did I ever go in and have somebody in front of me, being worked where they were helping that person. So no, didn't have the traffic like that. Plus, you wouldn't have the constant in and out like you would at a convenience store and service station. We all use them. You're running out of gas. You're happy to see a gas station, right? But not necessarily on the corner a block from your property. I don't think any of you would go to buy a new home and say, realtor, I have to have a gas station within 2 blocks of my house. Just doesn't happen. Or you wouldn't say, I want to have a convenience store 2 blocks from my house, or 2 blocks from a child care center or a school where you get drivers coming in a very congested area. There are accidents there almost every week. Just prior to meeting with the owner, just 3 days before, there was an accident right out in front of the Regions Bank, right there. It's just that short distance. I know on my map, 134 feet. I used the thing here, I didn't pace it off. Okay?
Okay.
134 feet probably sounds like, oh, that's a good space. It's not, because let me tell you,
Thank you.
it's 40 miles an hour.
I think we've got some other people that would like
Okay.
to speak also.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clint Daughtry, 2145 Edinburgh Drive. My house is roughly 800 yards southwest that my wife and I have lived in for 18 years. And I'm not going to regale you again with how many gas stations there are right there. I would mention that the lady forgot about the Walmart that is less than a mile east as well. And I have maps from Google Maps to show you how many are within a mile and how many are within 3 miles. There's no need for this. There's no market for this. And I say that because just last year, the old Kangaroo Valero station, maybe less than 1,000 yards from this site, up there next to the shopping center with Sinclair's, closed. So if there was a market for this many fuel stations, that one would not have closed. And now with the Marathon that's directly across the street and the Chevron that's coming in just further up Vaughn Road, there's going to be a blight question. If there's not enough market to support that Valero down there, there's not enough for 3 gas stations within, to use a golf term, a pitching wedge of each other. So something's going to close and there's going to be blight, And frankly, I would rather have an abandoned bank building for a little while sitting zoned office to get the right tenant than somebody comes in, tears that building down, paves over everything, sets in gas tanks, and who knows what it's going to take to get those removed if the property changes hands. And then either that station, the Marathon across the street, or the Chevron, one or two of those three will not survive. So I'm asking you to please consider the homeowners. And as I show you, I will pass these as I take my seat. It shows you the density of residential property there. All you see is houses. So I'm asking you on behalf of all of us that live in the area to keep this zoned office to help us both with our property values and our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your time. My name is John Hall. I am the HOA president for a community a little bit further down in Norris Farms. It's adjacent to the Bell Station. And once again, just a general canvas of our 90 residents. I haven't heard anything positive come out from any of them regarding the idea of rezoning this piece of property. It is a nice piece of property. I think it's zoned appropriately for a type of business that with the right kind of patience. I think, you know, the proprietor of this place can give it more time before suddenly making a hasty decision that impacts someone like myself who's lived in Norris Farms for 25 years. We've got residents who just built some new homes, about another 20 homes, so they've been in it for less than a couple of years. But I do like this map that you have here. If you could only explode it on out where you get the whole Bell Road stretch from the Bond Road intersection to Troy Highway. This is old Montgomery. Growing up, it's got a lot of churches, it's got a lot of estate-type properties, and it's got a spotting of all kinds of variety of mid-income homes, higher-income homes, and I just don't see, and I hate to use the term, cashing a golden ticket to the gentleman who owns this property at such a haste when it impacts so many people, whether it's property values, whether it's traffic. There's so many things to consider. So I'm hoping, at the very least, that this thing is pushed back to another time to where better evaluations can be made. You know, I drive up and down that intersection for years, and a lot of things they mentioned are there, but I didn't even see the signs that it was going to be rezoned. To a certain degree, I thought, while they're trying to hide this, I saw it for like five days. It's about the first meeting in January. I think some people from Bell Station were suddenly concerned, and I had no idea. So how fair is it for myself, the people in my neighborhood, or everybody in the surrounding communities from Vaughn Road all the way to Troy Highway be subjected to something that we don't know what would immediately happen to us, but we know that right now it's nothing positive, anything positive that would encourage the people in these areas that a decision to change the business zoning would benefit them. So that's my heartfelt feeling about the hastiness of making this type of decision. And once again, like I said, if you explode this map out, there are convenience stores. The Kangaroo, for example, which you mentioned, it's closed down. Now, how fair is it to that gentleman who put his money in, he lost his money, he had to close it out, and suddenly you cash a golden ticket right down here so somebody else can, I mean, it makes his value of his property more difficult to get rid of as well. So what do you got now? You got a vacant building right across from Publix. I don't think a project like this, whether it's a convenience store, is appropriate at this time. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you're at 14 minutes.
Excuse me?
You're at 14 minutes.
All right. If you have something that's somewhat different than the others have said, okay, well, thank you.
My name is Teresa Bigby, and I live on Short Line Circle. And in Bell Station. And if you look at your map or on your screens, there's a lot of buildings, particularly in that little triangle where Watchman Drive and Bell Road and Vaughn Road is. But also across, there's the, where Bruno's used to be, a lot of asphalt and a lot of concrete. And I know downtown, I believe they've been trying to make an effort to make things a little more, I hate to bring green, but make it where the groundwater is more absorbed, even out, I think there's a place out near the interstate where they have a little garden that they've created so that the groundwater gets back. Well, we have a nice little, if you look at that, I guess it's the southwest, where the current gas station is now. Back behind it and beside it going up Vaughn Road, there's a plan for a Shell station to go there.
Is your comment that you are in favor of this? Or
I am not in favor of this.
Okay,
I'm thinking
okay.
right now we have the nice drainage system. I paid
Okay,
attention when I went up there, but I just
You're
think
basically saying the same thing other people
right,
have said.
more and more
All right.
concrete and
Thank you.
asphalt going down there. I don't think
Thank you.
that there's a good thing.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Does anyone else have anything to say that's different than what somebody else has already said? If not, Mr. Speaks, would you like to respond?
Well, a lot of the discussion that you heard from the first couple that were up here, Chris and Mr. Miles, we discussed all those things in our meeting, and Mr. Person, again, is open to other uses of the property, but would ask that we zone it business so he can use it for other things other than an office. So that's where we left it with them. This property, we talked about this in our community meeting. The property's on the corner of an intersection, so that's why a convenience store is calling, looking at this corner, because of the traffic, because of the location, because of the access. That's why they're calling, or they wouldn't be calling. So I would just leave it at that. Like I said, Mr. Person's open to other uses if they present themselves.
Thank you. Any other comments from the Planning Commission?
Yeah, I have one comment, a question. Having heard the people before you came back up, you know, this to me deals with their quality of life, their livelihood, and so forth. I mean, has anybody had a chance to talk to see if this can be worked out, or is he just headstrong on moving forward?
Well, no, we met 2 weeks ago. Kippy, you weren't here maybe when I started, but we met 2 weeks ago with 17 people, and we talked about all these things. And we said, let's look at other options, okay, for a business type zoning, and they've actually investigated those other options. And right now they're getting no's from these different groups saying no, they don't want to, nobody wants to come in and use it as a bank, because the banks are, that's the reason the regions is not having a lot of traffic, because they've moved their sources to another location. So the bank doesn't want to go there, okay? So we investigated that. We talked to 4 different banks in the last 2 weeks, and they said no. They've even talked to the Postal Service, and right now they haven't gotten back to us. So I don't think he's headstrong necessarily. It's just that the use of an office right now
My last
is
question,
not working.
I'm sorry I missed it earlier, but the lady asked a good question. The one who had the measuring wheel, she asked, would anybody want a gas station this close to their house? And I hadn't gotten an answer from anybody. She asked the question, and it's still on the floor or on the table, but nobody's answered the question. Okay, thank you.
Is that it? If so, I will call for the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we do not approve.
Is there a second to?
Second.
To the deny the motion?
Second.
He has to give a reason as to why he denies it.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, somebody said something.
There has to be a reason why he denied it. I need a reason.
Because of the quality of life of those neighbors.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second to deny this rezoning. All in favor of denying this rezoning, please raise your hands. All those in favor of rezoning? The motion is denied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. Thank you. We've got a long agenda. If you are here for that, please leave quietly. Thank you. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is presented by J.M. Garrett and Son, representing Joel Reed. Request final approval of Joel Reed Plat Number 2, located on the east side of Robert C. Hatch Drive, approximately 300 feet north of Terrace Avenue, in an R60S single-family residential zoning district. This item will require a vote.
James, we can't understand you.
I'm sorry, I'm as close as I can. Want me to try again?
Okay. Okay.
Want me to try again, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Well, okay. I got to swallow it. All right. Presented by J.M. Garrett and Son, representing Joe L. Reed. Request final approval of Joe L. Reed Plat Number 2, located on the east side of Robert C. Hatch Drive, approximately 300 feet south of Terrace Lane, in an R60 single-family residential zoning district. This item will require a vote.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Planning Board, I'm Frank Garrett, and I'm representing Joe Reed. Mr. Reed has 4 lots, consecutive lots, at the end of Robert Hatch Drive, and he would like to consolidate those lots into 2 larger lots, each containing 2 of the existing lots. What he wants to do is take the 4 lots and make them into 2 lots.
Anybody on the Planning Commission have any questions? Anyone in the audience have any questions? If not, this is a plat and requires a... Did you have something to say, sir? I'm sorry. Did you have your hand up?
He's scratching his hand.
Okay. All right. This requires a vote of the Planning Commission. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5 is presented by Professional Engineering Consultants, representing Danny Clements. Request final approval of Poplar Street Commercial Development Plat Number 1, located on the southwest corner of Poplar Street and Chestnut Street in a B2 commercial zoning district. This item will require a vote.
Hi, my name's Carol Holland. I work with Professional Engineering Consultants, and I'm representing Danny Clements, and this is a replat of 2 existing lots into one lot, 1.56 acres for commercial development. And it's at the northwest corner of Chestnut and Poplar Street.
Okay. Any comments from the Planning Commission? Any questions?
What is the intended use?
Is a strip shopping center.
With how many buildings? I mean, how many units?
It's 3 units.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to...
3 units.
3?
Yes,
What are they, 1,500 square feet each, something like that?
that's correct. I think it's a total of maybe like 2,000 square feet. Maybe like 1,000, and I'm not sure of the exact square footage, but they're small.
But it's retail.
One of them is a laundromat, dry cleaners, and then there are 2 other smaller units to go along with that.
So one is definitely the laundromat.
That's correct.
Okay, and then you've got 2 others
That's
we
right.
don't know what's going in those.
I know one of them is proposed as a liquor store, and the other one, I don't know.
I got a question, Mr. Chair. It's already a little strip mall, not very far from that location. And I was over that way just the other day, and those places are, I mean, a couple of those buildings are already vacant. And the concern that I have is that, you know, we're going to put up another strip mall that's going to end up with no shops there, because actually that is a very high crime area. And matter of fact, you have a hotel, motel right there that I know for sure is a very, very high crime area. And the concern I have is that we're going to put up more buildings that going to end up being just vacant buildings sitting there. That's one of the concerns that I have with that.
Mr. Commissioner, the building is currently under construction. It came through for a public hearing because it met all the parameters back late last year.
Okay. We can't understand you.
The building is under construction. It came before here as a public hearing late last year. This is just a legal platting of the property.
The development plan was already approved.
Right. What she's saying is this, what he's saying is this is just a plat.
I understand. Okay.
Just replatting. Anyone in the audience wish to address this?
Hold on, Mr. Chairman. I wish I would have known this before I voted for the development plan, that we were going to get sucker punched like this.
Mr. Tate, you didn't vote for the development plan. It was just a public hearing because it met all the criteria.
Well, something is wrong. Why is it even up here then?
State law requires the property to be platted.
Well, does the state law, what else does the state law require? Because you're asking us to look at something where the building's already in place or going up. What's the point?
Mr. Tate, the city council made the decision several years ago to allow for a public hearing. We put it through that process. It's vetted. I'm not real sure what I can tell you.
So I want to answer, because it makes no sense to have this wasting our time when the building is already going up. Why can't your office just handle it?
They didn't start the building, it's on the pad.
It doesn't matter. It's already in motion. Has a building permit been issued?
Yes, sir.
Well, then this makes no sense.
And there's nothing within the law or the ordinances that were prohibited. It had the right zoning. This is a totally different animal. This is a plat.
Well, I think the process is screwed up. If that's the case, then why are we even in here?
Right now, you're fulfilling state law for the property to be platted.
Okay, well, let's vote.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? Not call for a vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we deny the request because I think the process is screwed up.
Second.
There's been a motion to deny this. Now, you know it's going to go in effect in 30 days regardless.
It can go into effect in 30 days. Maybe they can get the process straightened out in 30 days.
There's been a motion and a second to deny this plat. All in favor? All those against this?
The motion fails to carry.
What was the vote? I'm sorry.
It appeared to be 4-4 to me.
It was Dunn, Reed, Ms. Clemens, Hawkins, Tate. Was, right.
I'm sorry.
It was denied.
Okay.
Okay, to deny. Okay. It's been a motion to deny. That has been accepted. James, do you want to explain what's going to happen?
In 30 days, the plat will be able to be recorded because it would have run its timeline under state law.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to say one thing. Then the owner is not going to be penalized by this vote because it's going to go into effect in 30 days anyway. So that's what I mean. If this is meaningless, it's going to go into effect. So why are we fooling with this kind of stuff right now?
Any other comments? Item 6.
Item 6 is presented by Jeffco Engineers and Surveyors, representing Jonathan Beasley. We request final approval of Jonathan Beasley Plat Number 1, located on the north side of Atlanta Highway, approximately 1,100 feet west of Sprott Road, in an Ag 1 residential zoning district, proposed M1 light industrial district.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Hughes with Jeffco Engineers and Surveyors. We are asking for final approval of the Jonathan Beasley Plat Number 1.
Anyone in the Planning Commission want to address this item?
Do you have a building going up?
Excuse me?
Do you have a building going up?
We don't have a proposed development plan yet. Mr. Beasley has not approached us about what he is going to put out there.
So what do you
It's
plan?
vacant.
What do you plan on building there?
We don't know. He hasn't approached us for a development plan yet. This is purely just to plat the property.
We met the last time with Mr. Beasley, and he's the auto mechanic that's been working on cars for 35 years. That's what he
I'm
wants
sorry,
to put out
I don't
there.
know who's talking, but I can't understand you.
Mr. Beasley, we've already met with him regarding the auto mechanic shop that he wants to place out there.
So wait a minute. Is he not clearing land right now?
I'm not aware that he is.
This is across the street from Froggy, what's the name of that place?
Adjacent to Arbor Pro. I know that, just to the west of existing Arbor Pro.
This is the same situation. I go that way every day.
Okay.
He's working on this property.
But the last situation was we had an existing building and now we're platting. I'm trying to plat a vacant lot.
This is crazy.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this item?
I was just going to say, this is the one way out by the outer loop that we discussed last month.
I know exactly where it is, Cruz. I promise you I do. I go that way every day.
If there's no comments from the audience, call for a vote. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All against? Motion approved. Item 7.
Thank you for your time.
Item 7 is presented by Tuskegee Land Surveying, representing Alice J. Holt. Request final approval of Alice J. Holt Reverend Trust Plat Number 1, located on the southeast corner of High Street in South Bainbridge in a T4R General Urban Zone District. This will require a vote.
Is there someone here from Tuskegee Land Surveying?
No, Curtis is not here.
Okay. If not, we'll hold this over till next month.
Number 8 is presented by ECE Survey and Design, representing Kenny Wallace. This is a public hearing for a development plan for a new building to be located at 975 Lagoon Business Loop in a M1 light industrial zoning district. This is a public hearing and will not require a vote.
Good evening. I'm Kenny Wallace, the property owner. Daryl Hyatt of ECE had to leave town earlier today unexpectedly, and so I'm here to represent myself. I'm requesting approval of a building plan for Lot 13 of Lagoon Business Loop. The address is 975. It's along the west margin of Lagoon Business Loop. You have all of the information here that we have submitted with no objections. It's a pretty simple office warehouse building to be built on a vacant lot that I own. It'll be located immediately next door to a existing building that this building will replicate and be exactly the same as.
Question for you. Have you started working yet?
No, sir. No, sir, I have not.
Thank you.
Kenny, is this for you?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? If not, call for a vote.
No vote.
Excuse me, development plan, excuse me. All right, number 9.
Number nine is
Thank you for
being,
your time.
being presented by Takala LLC, representing Taco Bell. It's a public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located at 10 Wadsden Lane in a B2 commercial district. This item will not require a vote.
Yes, my name is Tim Miner with Takala, which is a Taco Bell franchisee. I'm here to represent them in presenting site plans for the proposed development for a new Taco Bell in Hope Hall.
All right, any questions from the Planning Commission? Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? If not, this is development plan, does not require a vote. Thank you for the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is presented by Pilgrim Engineering, representing Circle K. It's a public hearing for development plan for a new building and a canopy to be located at 2906 Atlanta Highway in a B2 commercial zoning district. This item will not require a vote.
I'm Pep Pilgreen with Pilgreen Engineering. This site is Atlanta Highway at Bradley Drive. We're proposing to put in a 3,600 square foot convenience store with gas service.
All right, anyone on the Planning Commission wish to address this item?
Pep, is this one going to have the liquor?
Have what?
Is this one going to have liquor?
I really don't know. Most convenience stores have beer.
Well,
But that's not something I ask them. I don't know, but I'm not sure, familiar with them enough to know. But I don't know.
Have you talked to the neighbors?
No.
About, no? Yeah. Because I see a swimming pool near there. It looks like.
Yes, there's houses on the east side, houses on the south side, but it's appropriately zoned.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions from the Planning Commission? Sounds like there are people in the audience that wish to address this item. If you'll please come forward. Please come forward if you wish to address this item. Remember, this is a development plan. This is not something we vote on.
Sure. Can you hear me okay? Thank you for allowing us to come before the commission. We understand that the development of the Circle K does not require a vote by the commission. However, we would like to go on record as opposing the development of the Circle K. I don't think anyone here would want to wake up to a gas station in their neighborhood, and that's exactly where this is. That being said, because it is a done deal and we don't have any say in it, we will try to be good neighbors and hope that the Circle K people would do the same. I understand from James and the Lands Use Division that the developers have worked to help take the residents into consideration, and we appreciate that. There are a couple of things to be concerned about. One is the hours of operation. I don't know what hours they plan to operate. Most gas stations tend to be well lit, and that could be a disruption to the residents. We would also ask that no alcoholic beverages be sold due to the location of the project and the number of small children and teenagers living in Lee Oaks. We would also ask that some type of privacy fencing and landscaping be installed and maintained on the property, and that some type of noise barrier be installed. We're also concerned of what safety measures would be should something happen with the gas lines or the gas tanks. Thank you again for allowing us to address this issue.
Any questions?
Can you define what your interpretation of alcohol means?
Beer, wine, anything along those lines. Any other questions I could answer? Thank you.
Anyone else? If you'll come forward. State your
I
name.
do have one question to the lady here. When you say that's a done deal, what do you mean? They've sold it, or what does that mean?
We were under the impression that because that lot was already zoned commercial, and this is a commercial business, we would have no say in anything that went on there. It was just like, you're getting this gas station, and that's the end of that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you were
Yes, ma'am.
correct. You made the right assumption. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I can say that staff has worked diligently to try to protect some of the concerns that you have. Lighting's going to be addressed, the privacy fence. I asked Mr. Pilgrim to relocate the dumpster to a further point away from as far as we can get it from the homes. As for alcohol, that's going to be something the city council have to decide. That's not part of this presentation. But we have looked at it with a vegetative buffer, a new privacy fence, and we're hoping that Circle K will just be good neighbors.
Hey, James.
Yes, sir.
As you reviewed this request, did you identify where a handicapped van can park?
No, sir, that would have been traffic engineer
I don't
department.
see where a handicapped van can park on the site plan.
That can very well be addressed. When you say aside, are you talking about off the street, Mr. Mr. Tate?
Am I looking at the right drawing?
Well, we had an initial submittal, and upon the initial submittal, some things have been readjusted.
Who reviews these drawings, James?
I do, Bruce Taunton does, Greg Mosley does, the engineering department.
And so what does your review include, and how is that done?
I make sure that it's meeting all the setback requirements, it's meeting the parking requirements, it's not exceeding any coverage requirements, everything is based on the ordinance.
Well, you know there's a certain law that's called 88, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you enforce or doing the reviews for 88?
That is not part of my job, no, sir. That would be traffic.
Well, where is traffic in here? Who's representing traffic out there?
So that's not, in this case here, we don't have a representative from the departments. I can tell you it'll be looked at closer, and if it's an oversight, it'll be corrected.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My name is David Metzger. I live on Bradley Drive. I've been a homeowner for 30 years. Speaking of traffic, Bradley Drive is a known thoroughfare, and it's been an ongoing problem with the thoroughfare traffic from Ann Street to Atlanta Highway. Also, with Lee High School being in the neighborhood, there's a lot of school traffic, vehicles, as well as school buses. We've got a problem there. And that particular corner at Bradley and Atlanta Highway has had numerous car accidents because of the nature of that intersection. It's the permit to build this gas station, convenience store needs to be reconsidered because it's a bad idea because of the location of 3 schools in that area. There's a school crossing directly in front of what used to be the bank. That bank building has been there for as long as I've lived in Montgomery. And for it to be anything else is really, it's not a good idea unless it is some sort of an office building. But putting a convenience store there, not only is it a traffic issue, but the issue with the schools. The businesses on Madison Avenue and Mount Meigs Road are already having trouble with the school kids that are skipping school and just loitering in that area. last year we had shootings in that neighborhood behind Lee High School. It's just going to be a nuisance with the hangouts. We all know a gas station with a convenience store, it's going to sell beer, but just the fact that they sell snacks, beverages, sports drinks, those things, that's the things that the students can buy. That's going to be a major area for them to muster or to hang out. Just the foot traffic alone going through Bradley Drive for the Walmart area is bad enough, but there's going to be more traffic coming through on foot and on vehicles for this gas station. And not only is it bad for the neighborhood, it's bad for the schools, it's bad for the kids that are going to be caught hanging out there. And of course, we've got plenty of neighbors. As the earlier incident, do you want a gas station that close to your home? And it's just a bad idea, and it needs to be reconsidered. The construction that's going to happen there, the whole building has to be leveled, the whole place has to be excavated, gas tanks buried in the ground, easements to be looked after. I couldn't get any representative from the church there. The church that's been there for forever, I'm sure they're not going to like it, and something needs to be halted and it needs to be reconsidered because it is a bad idea.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, sir. Anybody got any
Thank you, sir.
questions for? Yes, sir. You want to make a comment?
Yes, sir. Douglas Porter. I live at 7 Bradley, which is right below the line there. My house right now is 12 feet from the curb, the existing curb that is there. I have 2 small children that I raise there. My concern is the traffic, the noise, the light. That's my main concern. And like everybody said, would you want to wake up and look out your window and see a gas station? Thank you.
Thank you. James, before
Yes,
we
sir.
get further, let me just ask, what was this building before?
It was a bank.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
This is
sir.
the same situation we had before. When did this get rezoned? Was it on my watch when we got rezoned to a B2?
No, sir. I think it's been rezoned to B2 for a very long time. I can't give you the definitive date, but it's been B2
I'm
for a
sorry,
while.
I can't
It's been B2 for a long time.
It's been B2, but we've had a bank in it.
We've had a bank in it, which is allowed in a B2.
Well, that's what I thought.
So what happened is probably the zoning was put in place and the bank was built because it would be allowed in it didn't have to be an O1 like we had the situation earlier today.
Okay, it's just a situation where we're allowed a B2 in this location.
I do not know.
A long time ago.
Yes, sir. I don't know if anybody's sitting up here.
Some long time ago. I mean, it's very similar to the one that we just dealt with on Vaughn Road and Bell, but this one just happens to be, it was zoned B2 and the bank just happened to take it.
The zoning's already in place, yes,
The
sir.
zoning was, okay, well, I was about to say, I didn't think we rezoned this B2 anytime recently.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes. I'm Joe McGuire from Eastbrook Morning View neighborhood. I also own several houses on Oak Forest and lived on Oak Forest. And just want to remind everybody that Oak Forest, we had a 2-year-old killed several years ago because all the traffic bypassed Bradley trying to miss the light. And I know they'll increase on Bradley Drive, on Oak Forest now, but we already got more traffic than we need. And also there was an accident on Mallory that killed a person, a high school person, several years ago. So we've had 2 fatalities right in the neighborhood, right where they're talking about putting the Circle K. I know if we can do anything, or if we can try to stop it from going, we want to stop it. And we have too much trash in the neighborhood already with beer bottles, beer cans, etc. It is totally, I know we can stop that, but we don't want it in the neighborhood, period.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Beverly Tillery and I live at 12 Bradley Drive.
I moved in that area mainly because it was a quiet neighborhood. It was more elderly people. We've had younger people move in, but it's basically a good neighborhood. We do have a lot of late high school traffic, school bus problems and all. I just feel like that a service station on that corner would really be harmful to our neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Go ahead if you want to respond to any of this. Yeah, I mean, unless somebody else has got something else to say. Excuse me, if you'll come to the front.
I know they put the signs up there, but I did not see a sign on Atlanta Highway. The only sign I saw was one in front of the bank after I got a phone call. How many people gets noticed of the planning that it's going to be going on? It's just the adjacent neighbors, or the neighborhood should know before it happens?
It's the immediate neighbors.
When you say immediate, it's just two neighbors?
James,
let me clarify, Mr. Cook. We do advertise it in the advertiser Sunday and Thursday, and we do put the signs out. The signs are a courtesy when it comes to development plans, but we're trying to keep the public informed. We get plenty of them get knocked down, get taken. I imagine some of them kids you were talking about are using the sticks for swords. So we do our best. We document with pictures, and we even go back out when we're told that they're gone. We go back out and put them out again.
Well, I figured the signs would be on two corners instead of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They would have been.
And I've got one house that's, well, 3 houses down, 3 or 4 houses down there. We didn't get no notice.
No, you won't get a notice.
I got 4 of them there.
No, sir. You won't get a notice for this.
Ma'am, if you'll speak into the mic, we can't.
We just want to know why the notice is not sent out by the city to notify the residents what's happening in our neighborhood, period.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. As again, you may have understood it. There is notice in public notification in paper and so forth, and there are also the signs are put out, but we can't guarantee the signs are going to stay there. Thank you.
My name's Glenn Barrett Jr. I live at 14 Bradley. My brother-in-law, we have 3 houses in that area, within 4 houses down from the bank there, and we never seen anything saying they were going to build or anything like that. I mean, I know you say they put them out, but he lives directly behind the bank and never seen anything about this. It's really a bad idea. Everybody's just brought the same thing, the trafficking and it's just going to be a nuisance in this neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? I think we've got the gist of what the neighborhood.
Mr. Chairman, these proceedings are reviewed by the staff and the other departments, and I will bring Mr. Tate's. We go back and we watch the films, and if there's things that we can adjust and help a situation out, we will take that in consideration and do so. So it's not like it's over right now. I will definitely be revisiting this and some of Mr. Tate's concerns.
Okay.
I have one other question, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Now, I don't know, but as we were talking about the earlier thing about the alcoholic beverages being sold, you said that it was said that wine and beer doesn't need to come through the city council?
No, sir. That would still.
My question is.
They would still have to go to the city council.
Right, I understand that. My question is there a certain distance from a church or school that liquor can be sold, that alcoholic beverages can be sold? Is there a certain distance?
There was at one time, but from my understanding, and I'm sorry I don't have a date, but the legislature removed it several years ago.
So you can sell wine next door to a church?
Yes, sir.
Or school?
Yes, sir. If you can get the license through the city council, and they are tough to get past when those situations revolve.
Yeah, but I thought you didn't need a license if it was beer or
No,
wine.
sir, no, sir. You still have to have a license for off-premise beer, wine, and then the liquor license for the adjoining buildings that are coming up on these gas stations is a totally different license. But
No, what I'm saying, well, maybe I'm not making myself clear enough. I'm not talking about a liquor store.
I'm not talking about liquor store.
My understanding was, in the convenience store, you can sell wine or beer. Is that correct?
Under a beer and license, I mean, it doesn't go with the general license. You've got to go to the council and get permission to sell beer and wine. So if you've got a daycare next to you, you're liable to have, issues, or a church across the street, you're liable to have issues. It doesn't automatically come with the convenience store license. It is a separate license.
And it's no problem selling next door to a church, if they get the license.
If they get a license.
If they get
Yes,
the,
sir. If they can
okay
get the
from
license.
city
I
council.
think the concerns are dealt with, but for whatever reason, the distance was repealed.
Okay.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, to address Mr. Tate's comment, there are 2 handicap spaces in front of the store. It's shown on the site plan that I have that y'all printed off, so I don't know where that comes from.
Hey, Pep. You're a licensed engineer, right? In the state of Alabama, right?
Yes.
So you do know that a van parking area requires an 8-foot aisle, right?
I'm sorry?
You do know that a handicapped van aisle requires 8 feet.
Not necessarily. Depends on the width of the parking aisle. It can be 8, 8, and 8, 8, 5, and 8. It varies. But it would have to be the appropriate amount to accommodate a van.
Appropriate amount of what?
Distance. I mean, you can have different dimensions based on the width of the.
Here's what I want you to do, Pep, so we can move on. Send that to me, okay? So I can be educated.
I mean,
help me, because I just got out of a situation similar to what I'm describing to you. So I'd like for you to help me understand what you're
Well, a van aisle, the width of a van aisle depends on the width of, or may vary depending on the width of the parking stall. But that's different. I'll send you one.
Yeah, just send
I mean,
it.
it's written in
got my
ADA
email
manual.
address, you got my email address and phone number.
Okay.
You can send it to me.
Anything else somebody wants to? Okay. Well, Pep, I'm gonna make my little speech here for what it's worth.
All right. One more thing.
I do think that this, like the neighbors, it is zoned and they can do what they want to with this, but this is a bad idea. I hope that people at Circle K get the message. This is not what the people want in this neighborhood. And if you can convey that to them, for me personally, that's fine. I mean, this is just a development plan. We don't have a vote on this, but I think that needs to be communicated to the people at Circle K.
Well, I wrote down all of the comments for the things that they talked about outside of not being there totally, and I'll pass that on.
Yeah, I mean, there's better use for this particular spot.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? If not, this is development plan. It's been held. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think this goes to a wider problem. And by us having such an outdated land use plan, and I want to know from the staff, when will we have this new plan to review and something's supposed to be coming out? Robert made a presentation to us a few months ago. I want to know if that new plan is going to help address some of these ills that we're faced with up here. Can somebody speak to that from the staff perspective?
Mr. Tate, I would defer that to Robert or Desmond, because I don't want to speak out of turn.
And so what should we expect? You'll defer it to them. What are they going to do? Give us a call, send us an email? I mean, what happens after you
I will let them know your concerns, and I feel very comfortable somebody will be in contact with you.
But we have a commission of 9 people up here. Just don't talk to me. I want everybody else to get the same information. Because this is beginning to get ridiculous over and over and over. We had 2 tonight, and I want to know if this new plan is going to address these kinds of issues. Otherwise, we're just going around in circles.
I will have someone contact each one of you, or we'll have something in next month's packet that may be able to explain things a little bit better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 11.
Item number 11 is presented by Pilgrim Engineering, representing Stony Brook LLC. Request final approval of Stony Brook Plat number 14, located in the south end of Lismore Place, approximately 200 feet south of Dunmore Lane in a PUD, Planned Unit Development Zoning District. This is a plat and will require a vote.
I'm Pep Pilgreen, again with Pilgreen Engineering. This is our next to last plat in Stony Brook for residential construction. I think all they have left now is a little business up front and some apartments, so we're about to run out of this. These will be 60-foot lots, I think.
All right. Any questions from the Planning Commission? Anyone from the audience wish to address this item? You can go ahead and respond to Kippy. He wants to know if they've started building on it yet.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
Right.
We need to get the plat approved before the engineering department will approve our plans for construction.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Move to approve.
Second.
You got to
All
vote?
in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 12 is presented by Flowers and White Engineering, representing Southeast Landscape Management, LLC. Public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located on the west side of Ohio Farrell Road, approximately 8.
It's a metal building, but he's a landscape company, so he'll probably house some tractors and stuff like that inside. There'll be gravel parking around the site.
Just out of curiosity, is this site in the city limits?
It's not.
It is not.
It's in the PJ.
What's it? Yeah. Where do we stop and Pike Road start? Doesn't Pike Road have stuff out there?
Yes, sir. And some of the police jurisdictions meet halfway in the middle. That's a very complex question that would be hard to answer because there's so many different variables to it.
Okay, but it's ours to make a decision.
This is in our police jurisdiction.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with the police. We have the policing rights.
Okay.
To protect the property.
Okay. As long as somebody's checked it out and we have the right to
I wouldn't put it in front of you if I didn't have to.
make a decision on this. That's fine. All right. Okay. Any other questions from the Planning Commission?
Would we get the same answer from Pike Road?
I have no idea.
I was told it was y'all's jurisdiction.
I understand that there's a lot of challenges and a lot of...
I understand. That's why I asked the question.
I know you did.
Well, I'm not going to let y'all pick on Pike Road. I got a lot of friends.
Well, Pike Road is not the issue.
That lives in Pike Road.
You got lapovers. You got,
I know it.
You got one claiming this and, you know.
I know.
All right.
You got 30 feet.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this? If not, this is a development plan. It's been heard. Thank you.
Item 13 is presented by Flowers and White Engineering, representing Southeast Landscape Maintenance. Request final approval of Southeast Landscape Maintenance Plat number 1, located on the west side of Ohio Farrell Road, approximately 8,000 feet north of Atlanta Highway in an M3 zoning district. This will require a vote.
This is the tract of land that you just heard the development plan from. It was unplatted originally. This is a plat for that property.
Okay. Any questions from the planning commission? Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? If not, call for a vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Item number 14 is presented by Flowers and White Engineering, representing Hampstead LLC. Request is final approval of Hampstead Plat number 25F, located on the south side of Portland Street, approximately 85 east of Upper James Street, in a T4R General Urban Zone Restricted Zoning District. This will require a vote.
Again, Kenneth White Jr. representing Hampstead LLC. This is a plat. You see lot 15 in parcel C. That was a residential plat, a residential lot, lot 15. And parcel C was just a parcel that housed like a well for irrigation. It was owned by the HOA. The well is located on the very west part of parcel C. So this simply replats parcel C and makes it smaller and puts that land towards lot 15 so they'll have a nicer yard.
What was that last word you said? So they have a nice what?
I'm sorry, Mr. Reed?
What was that last word you said?
So they, basically I'm reducing the acreage of parcel C and putting that acreage into the residential lot so they can have a nicer yard. So we can fence in that little well area. And, you know, everything's really tight out there at Hampstead anyway, so any kind of real estate out there is welcomed.
All right, any questions from the planning commission? Anyone in the audience wish to address this item? If not, this one does recall for a vote. Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Item number 15 is presented by Flower and White Engineering, representing Providence Partners LLC. Request final approval of Windhurst Plat number 4, located on the north side and south side of Fane Park Loop, approximately 85 east of Fane Park Drive, in a PUD, Planned Unit Development Zoning District. This will require a vote.
Okay, this is the remaining land that hasn't been converted from commercial to residential in the Windhurst community here. This creates, how many lots again? Was it 31 lots for residential use. It adheres to the PUD that was approved several years ago. I can entertain any questions. The width of the lots, so like I said, adhere to the PUD that was approved.
Any questions from the planning commission?
Am I reading that right? It says 0 feet front yard?
Yes, sir. It can never be 0 foot front yard because there's a 10-foot utility easement along the right-of-way on pretty much every bit of right-of-way there. So the only reason we did that, can you put one more down? Do you see how the lot, I'm sorry, wherever the plat is? There's some lots that face each other, that face parcel C. That's the sole benefit for having that 0 foot front setback so that building can sit on that line. That's the only time that happens.
Okay.
Anybody from the audience wish to address this? Not call for a vote.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Item 16 was delayed. Item 17 is presented by Janielle Andrews, Kavanaugh Bridget, and Tyree Shaw. They're representing the same. They request to rezone one lot located on the north side of Martin Street, approximately 350 feet east of Jackson Ferry Road, from an R65D duplex residential to an R99S, which is a mobile home subdivision. This will require a vote.
Anyone here for that item? This is a rezoning. This is a rezoning
Yes, sir.
on the north side of Martin Street. No one here for that? All right, that'll be delayed. We did not, is that the last one, or is it one more? Excuse me, one more.
No, sir, I've got one more. Item number 18 is Kenneth Finn, representing the same. Request to rezone 2 lots located on the west side of Meadow Lane at the intersection of Fairway Drive from R75S Single-Family Residential Zoning District to an R75D Duplex Residential Zoning District. This item will require a vote.
Yes, sir. My name is Kenneth Finn. I am my wife and I, we are the landowners. And what we were trying to do was trying to get the property rezoned in order to do some duplex homes for the elderly, and saying 62 and up. We've owned the property now since early 2000s, and we actually own 3 of the lots, but we built one home on the lot. It took so long to sell the actual property once we built, after we constructed it, that we decided to go a different route, and we've actually just been maintaining the property, keeping it cut, whatnot for years now, but recently we've just decided to try and do something with it. That's why we come in and try to get it rezoned.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So basically, you are doing duplexes and not a facility.
Say it again, sir.
You are actually doing duplexes, not a facility.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
we only own 2 lots, and what we plan on doing is constructing 2 duplexes, one on one lot, another on another. We're looking at maybe 2 bedroom, 2 bath.
Oh, okay. That was my concern, because I wouldn't want to rezone something and then you end up putting a facility in a community. So that's kind of on the lines to answer my question.
Have you talked with the neighborhood?
What?
Have you talked?
Yes, sir. Well, what I did, I reached out to the councilman. I also reached out to the neighborhood association president, and we just emailed each other. But I expressed to her what I was trying to do, and I just said that we'll just go forward and try to see what we can do with it. But I think they had a neighborhood association meeting not long ago, but I talked to them prior to the meeting. I wish I would have been invited to the meeting, but I got a letter the day after saying that they had the meeting the day before and that they had concerns. So
they've got concerns about it. Well, before we get to them, question, when you say duplexes for the elderly.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by that?
What I'm proposing is, say 60.
You mean no children can live there?
No, sir. No, sir. What I wanted to do was, by being in a residential area, by us wanting to do the duplexes, what I was proposing is to do more so than just do like HUD homes for Section 8 and stuff like that. I would rather try and do the elderly, maybe 60 and up, to where they would have, like, not so much as a retirement community, but just to propose them having clean, suitable, affordable housing.
Mr. Finn, how many more duplexes are right in that area?
None.
None, right?
No, sir.
Are you going to have somebody assist the elderly, or just the elderly that can take care of themselves rent one of the apartments?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's not a facility to actually help the elderly. It's just affordable homes, efficient homes for the elderly.
Okay.
So really, this is just a duplex. You just put in a duplex.
Yes, sir.
You just want to put a duplex in.
Yes, sir.
Duplex for the elderly, that doesn't mean anything.
You don't necessarily have to be an elderly person to live in your duplex.
Well, I would prefer it to be, and if I need to put it in the in the ordinance or whatever I need to do for that,
I
I'll
don't
be
know
willing
if you
to
can do that.
It's called housing discrimination.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if it's not designed specifically.
It's old folks like me.
You know,
Like if it was, you know, it's not a retirement facility or anything like that, right?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. And I haven't I haven't started building yet either.
well, I hope not.
I got one more question.
I hope you're not building a duplex for the elderly and discriminating against me who might want to buy that house.
That's right.
I know I'm ugly and old, but I can still buy a house.
That's right.
But I got a question for you. You say you got 2 lots. Is it 2 lots?
Yes, sir. I had 3.
How
but
wide are those lots?
I'm not sure. It says it up. It says it on one of the actual the paperwork.
Because I'm comparing the width of, I'm comparing your 2 lots with the lots that are kind of diagrammed out here, and it's kind of difficult for me to picture 2 duplexes with adequate space between them, and the driveway, and parking, and the yard, and all the things that would complement the existing houses in that neighborhood. I just don't see a duplex fitting those characteristics that would lend itself to blend in with the neighborhood. I mean, it will surely stick out.
Yeah, but
as
they
a
are
storefront.
fairly large lots. I'm not exactly sure.
Fairly large. How large is fairly large? Are they larger than the lots that you see up here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you put the duplex on each lot, how much space would you have between the side of the face of the building to the property line?
I'm not exactly sure.
How much front yard would you have from the front door to the property line?
At least 25, 30 feet. It should be. It's plenty of room.
I mean, would the face of the building line or with the face of
Yes,
the
sir.
houses?
Yes, sir. They will be able to
So
face.
what about the backyard? How much backyard would you
There's
have?
plenty of space all the way around it.
So you want me to vote yes on you saying there's plenty of space, but you can't tell me how much space, and all these people are sitting here wanting to hear the same answer that I'm asking.
Yes.
You're a brave man, brother. I can say that to you right now. You're a brave guy.
What is the B1BQ in the backyard?
I couldn't understand.
Is that the golf course?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
Yes.
it was, but I just want to make sure.
I actually went and looked at that lot, or those lots. That tree line, there's a tree line around there.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's part of your property also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next question I got, why duplexes and just not 2 small homes that would actually, like Kippy was saying, would actually keep the
Well-
integrity of the neighborhood?
Well, the thing about the homes, like I said, we actually built a home on. We actually built the newest home in that area, and we had such a hard time selling the property because of about it being so impoverished. I actually got pictures to where I went out there this week. It's maybe 6, 7 homes that are just boarded up.
I was out there a couple days ago, but I guess what I'm getting at, nice little cracker box type homes. You said 2 bedrooms, bath for elderly. Why not do just 2 little nice homes that would actually keep the integrity of the community rather than duplexes? You know, duplexes is.
Yeah, well, what we're trying to do is, what I was trying to do first is see if we could go another route other than the route that we went the first time, and we are trying to do something for the community that would benefit the community. I'm not trying to do nothing that would take away from the community, but what I also am trying to do is just to make it to where it's a little bit more profitable for me and my wife.
I understand.
But in the same instance that I'm not trying to take away anything from the community. But if it's not approved, then I don't know if we'll just sell the property, which we have tried to do, but no one is trying to buy homes in that area. I haven't seen to where, and even one of the, I don't know which one is Ms. Sanders, but she even mentioned purchasing some of the homes that are run down over there and whatnot. But if I own the property, why would I try to purchase outside of what I've already owned? Then I'm stuck with my property. That's one thing.
So based on what you just described, impoverished, run down, boarded up houses, why would you want to put old folks over there?
See, I'm trying to put.
Why would you want to put old people in the scenario you just described?
Well, the homes that are boarded up, that's just in the community.
But what I'm saying is, why would you want to build duplexes for older people to reside in an environment that you just described?
Well, the thing that the environment that I'm providing is a new.
But that new house is in a community that you described as run down and all this other stuff. So why would you want to put old folks over there like that?
Well, me explaining that area, what I was doing was just saying the problem that I had in selling the first home that we built. No one was trying to buy a home in that area, a brand new constructed home.
So
in that
you would
area.
be leasing. So these duplexes, you would be leasing those versus selling them.
Well, they're going to be rented out. Yes, sir.
Well, rented out, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Do they have Section 8 in that area?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that they do. Do they have Section 8 in that area?
So would y'all rather him build 2 houses and put Section 8 renters in them? Would you rather him build 2 more houses and put Section 8 renters in them?
Let's let them come up and speak to y'all come up and speak now.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wendy Smith. Well, Wendy Sanders
Speak into
Smith.
the microphone, please.
Hello. My name is Wendy Sanders Smith. I am the president of LME Community Association. When I found out I got a letter, I came down here before. We have property out there now, common ground, that's not even doing anything with that property out there now. And then he want to bring something new into the neighborhood. And like he said, and it's a one-way in and one-way out this, in that neighborhood, and the streets are so narrow. We have so many houses out here.
Microphone.
Use the microphone.
We have houses right now that's boarded up and don't nobody live in them, and he want to bring a new house. Like he just said, houses that he just built brand new, it wasn't selling. So why bring something new in the neighborhood? They're going to sit there, it's not doing anything. So that concern is, if you want to put a single door, it's fine. If you want to build one, it's fine. But a duplex in the neighborhood, no. We don't need that. And like I said, it's a one-way in or one-way out. And common ground's not even doing with nothing. They got zoned. I came down and tried to fight that. By the time I came, it was already zoned. They're even doing anything with common ground. Ain't doing that with that property that's out there now. Want to add something else? We don't need that.
Do you disagree with the duplex part, or do you disagree with the wait a minute. Let me ask my question first. Do you disagree with him making them duplexes?
Yes.
But if they was single, that would be fine?
Yes, because all of it's zoned for single home only.
No,
now.
I understand that, but you have a problem with it being a duplex?
Yes. 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 And it's zoned for single home.
Why?
Because it's zoned for single home. You got duplex, that's 2 houses on one property. That's 2 houses together.
No.
Okay, but he just said the first one he built, it took a long time to sell that first one he just built on that lot. And that been years. That house was vacant for a long time before that one sold.
But he's not talking about selling.
He built one on there. I understand what you're saying.
I know. But
He
what
wants to
he's
rent.
talking about is leasing.
It's called renting. He wants to rent it. He want to rent it out. But why bring something to the neighborhood and that's already got a problem in the neighborhood already?
I'm not arguing with you. What I'm trying to do is
I got you.
make sure you understand that
Yes.
Mr. Finn is not talking about selling. He could, this afternoon, tonight, he could go get a building permit and build a house on those lots, okay? And
Right.
lease them. He could do that.
Right. We don't have
But, and what I think they were getting to is the duplex is a one unit. The only way you know it's what do you got, 2 bedrooms and 2 and 2? Is that what you got? I mean, it's one building and then one building over here. But he's still talking about leasing. That's where we're trying to understand where you're coming from. You're saying, look, yeah, it's fine to put one building out there, one house, okay?
Yes, sir. I understand what you're saying, but I understand. You say it's two houses together, but I'm just trying to say the one he already built, it
It's
had a
not
hard
two
time.
houses together. You wouldn't know.
Okay, it's one. Okay, it's a duplex. It's one on this side and one on that side. It's
Of one building.
But
Yes,
one building.
that's correct.
But it's for a two-family home, but we only zone for one single-family home out there. It'll be two people in that one right there. It'll be two people instead of one. Because that's a single-family home. He want to put two people right there.
I completely understand. I don't understand your logic, but I do understand you.
And we went out. We had.
I do understand what you're saying. The point I was trying to make to you was that that Mr. Finn is talking about leasing the homes.
Right, I understand.
And I have heard no objection to leasing the homes. Have I missed something?
It's just. I'm just trying to say it's not. He want to rezone the whole thing. He wanted to rezone
that lot
for it to become a duplex out there.
That's right. That's right.
He want to rezone it.
That's correct. That's correct.
But it's zoned for a single family home. That's what I'm trying to say. That's two people, one here and one here. You got one. It's one building, but you got two families side by side.
That's correct. That's correct.
I guess the point that I'm missing is, you show me pictures of blight, right?
These
Boarded up.
houses
Wait. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Boarded up houses or whatever. I mean, he discussed it too. Now he want to come in and build 2 new duplexes and only rent them to people over 60 years old. But that's his proposal. Now we're talking about new buildings. We're not talking about, bringing something. Why do you object to that?
Just because.
Because it's zoned. Because he wanted rezoned.
Yes,
only because of the
rezoning. He wanted
rezoning.
zoning.
Only because of the rezoning.
No, and like I said, I'm saying because we already have something out there, common ground. They're not even doing anything with that property out there either.
Well, we're not addressing common ground. Okay, all right.
But what I'm trying to say, it's okay. It's one building there, but it's two families that's side by side, and we already have houses out there. Okay, that's all right. Somebody want to talk. Better than.
All right. Anyone else?
My name is Pernell Sweeney. I live at 3243 Fairway Drive. I live exactly where you want to put your houses at. I have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. I had a swimming pool when I moved in. I closed it in because I got tired of it. That lot where he wants to put that house is nowhere in that whole area. There's no boarded up houses. Not one house is vacant in that area. Where he wants to put the duplexes, there's not one house that's empty. Everybody that's on my street own their house, except for one person. And she lives in Atlanta, and she rents her house out. But she rents it out with the condition, if we call her and said that there's a problem, she comes down and takes care of it. Now, if you want to put a single family home out there, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. However, when you bought this property, you bought it with the understanding that those are single-family homes out there. When you bought it, you was planning on moving into the neighborhood yourself. And the person that you sold your house to, that lives in that house right now, has no problem. He has flowers around his house. He has a very nice house. We have no problem with him. Now, if you want to build a house like you built the first time, on that property and the next property next to it, if you got room enough to build 2 houses, that's great. I have no problem with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just explaining to you right now. We have no problem on our street, and we don't need any. We've been there since 1997. I bought that house when nobody went in there but white people around me. I watched my neighbors, each one of them, not move out, but pass away. And I seen their children come in and sell their houses. But we decided to stay because that's our neighborhood. That's where our kids grew up. Our kids grew up there. My dad owned this house. I own mine. If you want to put somebody in that house and lease it out, I don't care what you do with it. However, it was zoned for single families, and that's what you need to leave it as.
Can I ask you a question? Because one thing that he said that he was going to put, it's going to be for elderly people. So are you opposed to your neighbors being elderly people? I'm just asking the question.
I'm getting elderly myself, so I'm not opposed to elderly people.
Okay.
However,
but you're opposed to it being a duplex.
I'm opposed to being rezoned to a duplex. If he want to put a single family there and they be elderly, I don't care.
But it's got to be.
I probably enjoy them better than I probably would somebody young.
But it's got to be a single home for the elderly, not a duplex for the elderly.
No, he said a duplex. And when I called your
You don't want
office,
it a duplex.
when I called your office referred to me and said that it was going to be a duplex for the elderly. I called down here and they explained to me that it was going to be a duplex for the elderly. Now, if he bought this property, he knew it was in a community that was already well established. He want to resell his property, he's more than welcome to. He can put it up for sale. I might even buy it. Don't think I ain't got the money. So therefore, if he want to do that, that's more than great. But when you buy something, you buy with the understanding you bought it for that purpose. And that purpose you bought it for was a single family dwelling. And that's what you need to use it as. Any more questions? Thank you for your question. No, I don't have a problem with the elder.
Excuse me.
Next person. Thank you.
I got a question because he said something that was important that I understand. Now, the description that I heard from the petitioner, he made me think that this place was run down, torn up, just boarded up everywhere. But according to what the gentleman at the microphone said, these houses are occupied.
Every last one on the street.
And so there are people, there's not vacant houses all over the place around this area that this property is shown. If it's occupied, it seems like they're taking care of the property from what you described. I'm just trying to figure out where is the section of the neighborhood that you're describing, sir? Is it further off the page, or where is that area that you just described as boarded up and all blighted? I mean, but I want to see it on the map up here.
Sir, the vacant homes are coming into the property. I'm not saying that, and it is nice. It's a nice area. Like I said, I purchased the land on the property. I mean, on this area because of how it was. My sister-in-law lived there.
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't want to go down that road.
That's what I'm getting
Where
at,
are
sir.
the houses
like
that
said,
you were telling me that were boarded up and everything?
And let me show a picture.
Show me. I want. You see that red square right there? That's on the.
Yes, sir. That's my property.
All right.
Yep. Coming
In and
into
around
the
that
property. Coming into the property off Woodley Road. Coming off of Woodley Road. When you come down into the property, there are several homes that are vacant, that are boarded up. I'm not saying that these people are living in squalor or nothing like that. That is not what I'm trying to say. Can I approach?
Now, I'm going to ask you a question about this. Where's this house right here?
That's the house that we built.
Where's this house? Where's this house right here?
That is right next to the property that's right there in the red X, a red square. The house right to the right of it, right up under it, that's the house that we built that's right there. Yes, sir. That's the area. That's the house that we built right there.
I have a house that you've given me that's got wood siding on it. It's got boards on the door and window. Where's this house?
That's coming into the property.
Can you point? Can somebody help him show me where this house is?
What street? Located all the way at the top by Ellswood Drive.
Put the little red dot on.
That's coming right up in there. Right up in there.
And he couldn't sell the property, nor could he renovate the property because he's still having problems getting the permission to even own the property. That's why that house is boarded up.
Well, I'm not here to debate why the homes are boarded up.
Okay.
I'm not even here
let's
to
go on.
debate.
What you want to get a duplex, you want to get zoning for a duplex. Does
Yes, sir.
anybody else have anything that's different to say than what we've already heard?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I would like to say something. I live at 3243 Fairway Drive. My name is Sandra Sweeney. I've been there for 23 years. And we do have flood issues in that area. And I think that putting his duplex there in an area, would cause more flooding. I don't want his duplex there. And I think that we need curves there before we can put elderly there. Putting his elderly clients there would cause more flooding because he would have to have ramps put in there. There is no driveways there. So I know he would have to have driveways, special driveways, handicap ramps put in that area just to accommodate these people in their duplex. Handicap ramps, driveways. I think that he have to look before he leap into this building on this duplex. We have a flood zone. The Neighborhood Watch Association have to constantly pick up trash in this area. So I don't want this duplex. I hope that he doesn't renovate this property to make it into a Section 8 after he can't get elderly people into this duplex. Thank you.
Okay. Just to clarify, if whatever he builds, he can't change the flooding that's going towards your property. He's not allowed to do that.
I don't want him to.
He'll have to mitigate.
Well, I wouldn't want him to say he's going to put a duplex there for elderly people.
He can't do that.
Yes, sir.
He can't change the flooding. However, the property where he wants to build at has a gully that runs straight through that property.
Right.
That catches all the water that comes off our street. Right now, I got to dig up my whole driveway so I can put a tunnel in because we don't have a sidewalk.
So it's curved. It's really a bad.
I understand what you're saying.
The property that he wants to do,
all right.
The city has already came out and redug it just last year so that we would be alleviated from some of the problem.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. You have something to say?
I do. I'm Vita Wilson. I've been in Ellsmead about 4 years now.
Microphone.
Use the microphone, please.
Okay. My name is Vita Wilson. I've been in Ellsmead about 4 years now. I am on the back side of Meadow Lane. My backyard faces that golf course. Now, we have a problem with the golf course. That's not what we're talking about. But just to say our area is run down, we've got a new council person. You're all aware of that. So we're giving him time to get in and let's get these abandoned houses. Help us with it. Our old council person, we didn't have any help, didn't want to listen to us in our neighborhood. So we've got a new council person and we are making positive moves in that area. But just to go and throw duplexes, I'm on almost an acre of land myself. I've got about 2,300 square feet. And I take pride in my property, as all of my neighbors do. We're working on Ellsmead, and that is the only area that we have those boarded up houses. Everybody else takes pride in their property and everything. So just to say the area is just run down, that's not true. It's not true. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir.
My name is Sandra Finn, and Kenny and I purchased this land several years ago, early 2000s. We purchased 3 lots. We've built on 1. The other 2 are large enough for duplexes. Now, the entire community, that particular street is nice. I mean, there are no problems, no boarded up homes. It's a very nice area. There are some boarded up houses in the community, just like any other community. I just don't see why you would oppose new development in your area. Granted, we do have the idea as far as putting the elderly there. That's what we want to do. That's what we would strive to do. But if the community is so against it, new development in their area, then we'll respect that. But it makes no sense. It does nothing as far as devalue your property. It only builds your property up, and I just don't see the opposition to it. Thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Penn, it was asked, I think at the very beginning of Mr. Penn, did y'all have communication with the homeowners? And just tell you from experience of all of us up here, that's usually one of the first questions that will come out. And we found over the years that a lot of times it's not really the objection to what you're trying to do, it's more the unknown of what you're trying to do. And if we could make a suggestion, or I'll make a suggestion, I think you owe it to yourselves, and I think you owe it to these people to have a meeting where y'all can sit down and kind of lay out. They heard what you're talking about. I don't think everybody understood what y'all were trying to do. I really don't. And I think over a cup of coffee or something, I think if y'all would afford yourselves that, and if they would allow you to do that, I think you may come out with this thing a lot better.
Mr. Hartwich, they understand what we're trying to do.
Microphone.
They understand.
Speaking to the microphone.
They just don't agree.
Speaking to the
Oh,
microphone.
okay. They understand what we're trying to do.
Have you
They
had the
just don't
conversation
agree.
then? Have you had the conversation?
We've had a conversation with the homeowner president of the group.
Have you had a conversation with these people
No.
that are sitting here?
And
No.
That's the conversation we're talking about.
Okay.
I think you're not being fair to yourself, but y'all do what you want to do, and if you want us to vote on it tonight, we will. But I'm passing some wisdom to you, okay?
On behalf of Kenny and I, we probably would wish for you not to vote on it. Give us an opportunity to talk to the residents of the neighborhood, and then we can revisit this later.
I'm gonna say to you what an old boss of mine used to say: smartest folks in the world are folks that agree with you. You're a genius. Okay, so you're withdrawing it, not withdrawing it, but you want to delay it.
Okay.
You're delaying it for a month.
I think you're wise.
Okay.
Is the community agreeable to having a conversation with these people,
Get
Mr.
a better
Finn?
understanding.
Very good.
I would get numbers and
All right,
emails
this
or whatever.
this has been delayed then for a month. That's what
Thank
we
you
will
all.
do with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think it was smart.
Before we leave,
Thank y'all for coming to.
Planning Commission members, we did not vote. We did not accept the minutes. Anybody got any questions about the minutes from last month, January 23rd? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Third.
All right.